Alright, game time.
Okay, what is up, guys? This is Ghost, and we're gonna be doing Dark Side. So before I start, I'm gonna introduce my commentator, Source and Mini So if you guys want to introduce yourself, go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
Alright, so before we start, you're gonna see I'm on the date and time screen. So I'm actually gonna be setting up for a trick we'll do in sand. So I'll have Source explain that. So so I'm gonna start.
Are we ready?
So in 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, I'm gonna yonk this straight out of the command in my Discord. So we set the time to be 7 minutes before daylight saving time occurs. So 7 minutes after it's set, the time will jump from 0:59 a.m. to 2 a.m. In Odyssey, this registers as a full hour passing, so as long as they plant the seed right at the start of sand before that 7-minute window, it will have grown for an hour and be ready to have its moon collected instantly, which makes another moon, for example.
See, it is
Right.
scripted. It's confirmed. No, but basically, in Sand Kingdom, a lot of the moons, we want to get as many moons as close as possible. Obviously, we need 250 in the end, and it just so happens that there's a seed in the plaza at the start, and that'll be shown in sand. We could just plant that, go into a loading zone, come out, and it's already grown, and it saves us a lot of time, and helps.
Also, I just realized my command is not actually reflect like an hour behind because I'm British.
So right over there, I actually went to first person just to make the bridge cutscene a little faster by 1 second.
Yeah, because in this game, if you're in first person, most like the camera, it just wants to get to where it needs to be. It ignores the scripted panning if you're in first person. It's sort of a weird.
Okay, so I'm actually in the frog room, so I'm going to be shaking. I'm going to be doing frog vectors. If you actually shake and move the frog at a 45-degree angle, you get a lot more speed. And yeah, so we're going to be collecting coins also.
Vectoring also applies when you're not in the frog, but obviously because the frog has a high jump height, it affects it much more. You'll see in Moon, because of low gravity, it's where we use it the most.
Also, I did not do right side. I did not do left side because I actually need to get some coins.
Yeah.
For a coin achievement later in Mushroom.
There's a trick called left side where, because you just need to get to the top, it doesn't matter which way you take it. Right side is the intended way, where you just go through a coin trail. If you go to the left side, you can do a sort of jump up, and it saves about 2 seconds, but in this run it would probably lose time just off of just needing a bunch of coins, and we want coins.
Is there anything? Oh yeah, Ghost grabbed the checkpoint when he came into this section so that he can warp to it and in about an hour's time, which will save some time with travel.
And yeah, oh right, so I believe I don't know all the full details of it because I did not watch this run, unlike I think some people, but there was another run done for SMO at this marathon. However, a lot of changes have happened since then. For example, Ghost here, he is on the most recent version of the game. Normally, in the oldest version of the game, you can skip this moon and a bunch of other tricks that save time. But a version released about a year ago now that saves time over the oldest version of the game, just off of loading times being increased, or decreased, rather.
Mm-hmm. So I should have explained this at the beginning of the run, but I'm going to be doing spin pounds, which is done by spinning the stick twice and doing a ground pound. And that usually gets me to top speed because we always want to be rolling, since rolling is the fastest movement in this game.
Just to slide in real quick, Ghost, you need to turn off the desktop audio on your stream and switch it to just the game audio because everybody can hear us twice.
Alright,
just
my bad. I'll turn it off after the Adam Brood cutscene.
Yeah, okay.
So we're gonna come up to T-Rex jump, and commentator, if you could explain that, that would be lovely.
Okay, so normally if you don't know, the intended strat is to go all the way and knock open a wall with a chain chomp, where you would then go through a 2D section and walk across a short area, and then you would get to the Madam Brute fight. But instead, we can use the T-Rex and the trampoline to jump up and dive and barely hit the loading zone for the boss fight, which saves, we don't really have like an exact amount, because we just know it's fast.
45 seconds.
Yeah, it saves time. It saves a significant amount of time. Anybody getting into running the
Also, I just finished the Madam Brood fight, so the strat there is we throw our cap, and then we backflip onto the chomp, and then it eventually lets us allow the cap to instantly capture the chain chomp, which saves some time. And you might have seen me get some coins in here. That is just because for a coin achievement. Again, I'm going to be going out of my way for some coins in this run.
Yeah, like, we'll probably explain the whole concept of Toadette achievements when we actually get there, but in general, it's worth noting we need, I think it's 1,000 total coins over the course of the run.
do.
Yeah.
Right, 1,000.
And doing that, we get a free moon, which, again, we can explain later in the run with it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in Mushroom.
Yeah.
There's a faster way. We don't talk about the Somedas. So if you guys are clueless as to what Somedas just referenced, he's referencing DSS, which is a very precise jump. It saves 8 seconds over the T-Rex jump, but it's incredibly hard.
Yeah, pretty much only top runners go for it, and that's mainly in any percent.
Yeah.
But if you're nuts, you can do it in the longer categories as well. I mean, either way, it's 3 minutes in, so it's typically worth going for. But it doesn't take long to reset.
It's hard, and this is a marathon, so let's...
Exactly. I don't think there's anything else we wanted to mention for Cascade. Oh, except for the fact that 250 moons are required to get to Dark Side, so we've gone 5 here in Cascade.
Yeah, so spoiler alert, I can't. Spoiler warning. When we get to the end of the game, you're in the Mushroom Kingdom. If you collect 250 moons total, you get access to the Dark Side, which is the objective of this category. And there's a much longer category in the game called Darker Side at 500. We don't need that many moons, so we're just getting
to that category.
I know.
So there, it's actually possible to do the text like really fast there, also known as fast action guide, but I accidentally updated my Switch and I cannot do it, so yeah.
It's actually possible. It's like a 1-frame window. Somebody proved it on Twitter.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
okay, so Sand. Sand's a pretty interesting kingdom.
Yeah, so here's where DSTA will come into effect, and you'll see Ghost just plant a seed. And again, normally it takes 20 minutes, however, we're going to go into that pipe, come out, and it's going to be fully grown, assuming everything worked correctly.
Yeah, if you go too slow, which I don't think we did here, you will miss the window for it, and you'll either have to reset or change the time manually.
My Cascade exit, oh, sorry for interrupting, Source, but my Cascade was a 556, so I should be fine. Yeah. So as Minibeast was saying, once I exit out of this pipe and get down here, I should have the seed entered, and yes,
there you go.
Perfect.
And that's how it works.
Also, we're gonna be bonking just so we can turn right faster.
Yeah, because you don't have the bonk animation is canceled just by the fact that it's such a low ceiling. Mostly.
Right.
And
nothing really special here, just a couple more moons. Is there anything else we want to explain?
Yo, thanks for the good luck, Lucid.
One thing I did want to bring up briefly is that because we need 250 moons, however, we will most prominently in Lake, I believe. We're going to go out of our way to get slower moons just because they give us access to more moons later. So far that hasn't really applied, however, that will mostly apply in, as I mentioned, Lake. And I think, is that it actually?
So you guys are probably gonna hate me, but I don't do Dram. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's Dangers, dude. What's up, DD?
But yeah, there's a.
So thanks for the good luck, BP. Yo, thank you for the support, guys. I really do appreciate it.
And yeah, so we're going to there's actually a strat here where you can. I think it is, God, I'm gonna probably explain it poorly, but you hold Y, shake, and then before the second shake, let go of Y, and it makes you faster, because why not?
Yeah, and the sooner before the second shake you let go of Y, so if you let go like the frame before, you get the biggest speed boost from it.
Yeah, and it saves time.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Everyone's hating on me because I didn't do Dram. I'm just bad at Dram, guys. But hopefully I can make it up here. This is some movement I invented, so roll, cancel, triple jump, long jump, dive. So yeah.
Popping off.
But yeah, it's kind of ironic of how fastball works because you go faster by not boosting.
Yeah. And
Oh yeah.
here's
and,
some
yeah,
interesting
like,
movement. We seen any percent. Well, actually, the modern any percent doesn't do that. But if you've seen some like previous any percent runs, you would have gotten this crate first, like as we were going from the alcove moon to the pillar. However, we decided to get it here because it puts us closer to our next moon, which is over on this.
Oh yeah, Dangerous just asked me a question. So Dangerous, how I got into Dark Side was I originally did it as a follower goal, but however, as I started to run it, I realized there was this connection between me and Dark Side. So that's one of the reasons. Also, we're coming up to Jaxie skip, so I'm gonna be wall jumping off here.
Yeah, so typically you're not meant
Perfectly
to get up
done.
Yeah, there are two ways to actually get up here. One of them is not faster for this category. At least, as far as I'm aware, it's not faster for this category.
Yeah. So there's a strat that is done in any percent called as reverse Jaxie, which is a very precise triple jump, and you're trying to get up there without the bullet bill.
It also only saves a second, just to add. I think it's even less.
I think it's like 0.5. I don't know.
It's something around there.
Yeah, and oh yeah, I sort of want to touch on this briefly. As we explained, we need 250 moons, and in any percent, we would be done a lot earlier because here we're getting 18 moons. You only need 16 to leave, and obviously we get extra just because it works out. And certain kingdoms we're not revisiting, like some kingdoms we go to more than once. This is not one of those. So we just want to get the moons that are fastest without like... Yeah, we just want to get the moons that are fastest while also making the leave requirements so we can get out and also try and route out things where it's like, oh, this will be fast to get here, so we'll get that. And
I mean,
stuff
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, Sean.
Typically post-game moons are faster because once you break the moon rock, they just stick moons on top of rocks and stuff like that.
Yeah, if you revisit a kingdom and it's in a world peace state, you get access to a lot more moons just by hitting a rock. So, why not?
Alright, so we're going to be coming to Lake 1. There's really nothing special about this kingdom. It's basically the regular any percent route.
Yeah.
Yeah, typically Lake Clip would save a lot of time, but Ghost doesn't do that, so it's just the, well, I guess normal any percent route, yeah.
One thing that I also want to sort of briefly touch on is how do I describe, like, any percent, you have usually a set route, and if you do its trick, maybe it changes 1 or 2 moons, but for the most part it's the same. Darker is also very similar. The longer towers, that gets 500. Dark, I feel like, is one of the more malleable, I think is the right word, like, type of category, where, let's say, this moon, you don't do it, or you can't do it quickly, or you just struggle with the movement. You can remove that moon, route in another one, and you would probably still get around the same speed, because there are so many quick moons, backing ones up is really easy. So
over there, I tried to attempt to do a camera manipulation, so that the cheap could be spawned by the moon, so I could easily just go there. I unfortunately did not get it, but it fortunately does not waste any time. Just looks sick. So we're actually gonna come up to fight Rango. So the strat for Rango is just backflip on the hat and then do a ground pound and then hit his head again, and the same thing over and over again.
It's honestly probably one of the harder brutals to learn starting out, just because he's so tall.
Right.
And also the timing for the backflips, because if you mess up the timing, then you'll go through his hat. Or he'll just jump.
well, intentionally you go through his hat, but
Well, yeah, but when you actually want to hit him.
I think
Also, it goes...
So I did a cool swag strat there, which is just spin pound. After I hit the last Rango bubble, and I got all the coins.
Yeah, because the throw, one buffers you in the air, which keeps you high up enough to hit Rango on the head, and then once you fall through him after the boss fight, it will grab all the coins, since they're set nicely in a circle around the ball.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we of course need those coins for the 1,000 coins to that achievement.
So here's a big meme in the community. Everyone joke. So there are 2 runners in the community who I really love, Snoy and Painpita. They always joke about how if you get sub 3 lake, you're pretty cool. So I'm actually gonna get like a sub 3 lake, so that's actually nice. 257 Lake.
Not bad. I mean, yeah, it was good. Like, nothing went wrong.
Okay, we're coming to Wooded. Probably the scariest kingdom in the run.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, typically Nut Clip would be pretty spooky because it's pretty much a do-on-die. If you miss it, you lose a decent amount of time. But Ghost has a customized route to remove that risk.
But we'll Ghost miss her, not Curiosity.
But yeah, generally, like, there are many, as I mentioned, there are many routes that you can do, and it just so happens that Ghost routed out, or based on Ghost's route, not doing Nut Clip is actually would actually save time. So we aren't gonna have to deal with that possible catastrophe.
Oh yeah, by the way, I just did 4 rolls to grab the rock so I could get that rock moon a little faster. Just a little optimization. Oh yeah, I go into first person for most NPCs when I talk to them, so because it saves it a lot of time, just because the text box appears faster.
Yeah, the camera animation is similar to what happened in Cap, is just cancelled. And because it wants to get the camera into the exact right spot that it's been programmed to.
So yeah, typically this is the moon that you would do no clip on, but we're gonna skip that.
Gist.
I'm actually interested because I haven't seen what route you do here, so this is a new one for me as well.
So we're coming up to the uproot. So the fastest way to capture the uproot is with a spin throw. And we can get an insta-capture. And breaking these nuts is just a spin pound, and that's all it's good.
And insta-captures are just where most enemies, or some enemies, will have a hat on them, or hat with quotation marks anyway. And you have to hit them twice to capture them and use the capture mechanic in this game. Sometimes
I don't know Samidas.
You're able to just cancel that, and it just captures instantly with one cap throw. So, you know.
Also, poison hacks? Yeah, poison hacks.
Gaming.
There's actually a frame where you can jump on the poison.
And also,
Or triple jump off the poison, which is what I did there.
because you can buffer jumps in this game, it's actually not as hard as it appears. Although saying that, I have never done it, so I can't say anything about that.
Okay, so normally what you're supposed to do in the story progression is there's a P-switch, and once you activate that, there's going to be a flower road. However, we are going to be skipping that flower road. I tend to do it different than most runners, because most runners do a roll cancel triple jump, like Source and Mini Beast here, but I'll let you watch.
I did not know you can make it.
Yeah.
Like that.
I mean,
Dive
I think
FRS.
easy
Shouts
makes
to
it
Dive
work.
FRS, guys.
Yeah, you just have to back to it a bit more.
Yeah.
It's similar to what the actual fastest strat is when you activate the P-switch. But most people, when they activate the flower road, they just walk across it.
You can actually be optimal. You can actually be optimal with your flower road movement, but you know.
Yeah, if you can plan the optimal flower road strat to do flower road skip, actually in the saves one.
Yeah, it does not.
How much time? How much does it take? It's like 0.5 slower than, what top runners do, Shem, but it's pretty inconsistent.
Uproot jump actually the hardest strat in the game.
Yep. So we're gonna be fighting Spewart, the 4th Brutal. So Spewart, so you're just gonna knock off the hat, and then you're just gonna hit him. And I'm also gonna be getting more coins.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be jumping on his hat. Throw. Knock off his hat with the cap throw. I unfortunately did not do it there. Hopefully I can do it here. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that fight's a little finicky. It can be weird sometimes. Also, Ghost doesn't need 1,000 coins to buy things in this run. The 1,000 coins are only needed for the achievement. I think there's only like a couple shop moons. So you end up spending like a very small fraction of the coins you actually pick up.
So because Ghost actually bought a moon here, that does not actually subtract from our total like coins collected. So
Right,
still has
there's
like
just a
160 something
counter.
to the counter that matters. So.
To be honest, I really don't know what's the optimal way, but Strav in his world peace world record uses the flowers here to get here, so yeah, I'm gonna be doing that. Also, shouts to Shirane. That's a Shirane bounce. In this game, if you actually hold your hat and hold forward, you get a similar, like, very cool dive bounce. And here we're gonna be getting post Spirit Moons.
And yeah.
Thank you for the good luck, Asher. And yeah, I am reading chat, by the way. If you guys have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. I'll try my best to answer. Oh yeah, I'm actually going to be doing...
Yeah, here's the cool strat where we preserve the rock flow. Ooh, it did not decide.
I unfortunately did not get it.
If you're able to get the strat, basically what happens is that the flower is just on Cappy, so when Cappy returns to you, the flower just refreshes and you get like all, because it's on a time limit and you get the time limit back.
Yeah, because since the spin throw takes a few seconds to activate, if you can grab a moon during the, or do anything during that animation, once Cappy comes back to you, it will give you the rocket flower back. It almost like saves it for later.
Alright, so we're going to be coming into the flooded pipes. This sub area is very interesting because there's a specific cycle I'm going to try and get.
Yeah, the entire area is cycle based, so not messing up any of the early parts, because if you do, the later parts will screw you up even more.
Alright, this looks good.
Yeah, seems fun.
Oh no, oh no, oh no.
Oh, you got the neutral bounce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sucks. Just there you go. Nice. Decent backup.
I think the interesting thing about Pipeway is that there are so many different strats that still meet the same cycle. Even though sometimes the movement looks really slow compared to some other strats, you still end up making it there at the same time.
Yeah.
Although there is some really hard movement that gets it a whole cycle earlier, but I don't think anybody does that, except for like Mitch maybe. Sounds like a Mitch thing to do.
Yep.
And that is the first
I
and
was
last time
ahead
this
of PB, by the way, guys, out of the spirit segment, but unfortunately, because of that mistake, I'm not going to be saving time or be ahead.
Baseball's heading out.
Okay, so we're going to come up to Cloud, and there's an interesting strat we can do for Bowser, which is the fast hat strat, and I'm gonna just, if you could explain that, that would be really nice.
I can try and explain it. So for the Bowser fight, the typical casual strat is Bowser will throw his hats at you. You will then hit the hat, which will almost disengage it, and then you will pick it up with Cappy, bring it to Mario, and then chase Bowser around the stage, and then you can start punching him. Whereas in our strat, you hit the hat, but also end up inside it at the same time, which will put it on Mario instantly. Bowser doesn't run away, and it actually saves a significant amount of time. So it's
Okay, I was trying to do a strat manip there, which I unfortunately did not get.
Oh yeah, sometimes the game just...
Yeah,
normally if the
sometimes-
hat is too close, Bowser will grab it, but sometimes it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, Gus got a pretty... Well, if you don't get the hat and it lands within Bowser's radius, he'll pick it back up, but sometimes this game...
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
It requires
So
a pretty
here,
good
I
time.
can't do the fast hat strat, so I just have to do the casual fast method.
But yeah, you can keep the hat on Cappy, walk up to him, and then dive. And before he starts jumping around, you just start hitting him. And that's...
I got screwed over by the hat position, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, can it spawn everywhere on like the like array of hats? I'm pretty sure it can. So sometimes you might just be on the complete wrong side of Bowser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, coming up here at the start of Lost is a relatively, I'd say relatively hard jump. It can mess you up sometimes, but for the most part it's consistent. But it skips Klepto, which is also a bird in SM64, but it will take Cappy if you walk in his radius. So what we do is we jump on top of the tree to get to a part of the kingdom that we're not meant to access. And since the game does not expect you to be here, Klepto will not come after you. So you can grab a few fast moons here without having to worry about Klepto stealing Cappy. And then we'll come round and trigger him halfway through the kingdom. which will completely nullify.
Yeah, most of the first half of Lost is basically just knowing where the trigger is and avoiding it, and getting moons that are outside of the trigger as well. This is actually a lot bigger than most people expect.
And even if Ghost falls, Klepto will get him, even if it doesn't get him on the upper section. It's kind of weird in how it works.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this wasn't intended, so they didn't really program it well.
So I grabbed the checkpoint there just for this death warp. Because if you grab checkpoints, they still save your position. So if I die, I'll be spawned up here. So I'm gonna get this moon.
And we're also going to use that checkpoint in like an hour, about an hour, when we revisit this kingdom.
Yeah.
Because it has fast moves.
Right. Okay, so here I'm gonna be doing a somewhat hard triple jump. Oh, I almost got it, unfortunately. Okay, so here I'm going to be spin pounding. I'm going to be getting the Hinard here. And I'm also going to be triggering Klepto because even though I got past Klepto, his trigger is still active. So just to avoid losing like a minute.
Also, something to mention about the coin hit arts, they are only available on 1.3. So on the older version where all the glitches exist, the coin hint arts are actually not available. So even for a long time, before 1.3 became the fastest category for everything, 1.2 was a faster category for the longer the fastest version for the longer categories, like all moons and stuff like that, because you don't have to do as much coin grinding.
Yeah, and those hint charts are the reason why 1,000 coins is a lot easier than most people first.
Thanks for the good luck, Aru.
Because, like, as you noticed when he was leaving Wooded, I think his total coins collected was like 180, but now he's exiting with 292 or like 392. So it really adds up and helps a lot.
Let's see, Night Metro.
There's nothing really interesting in Night Metro, besides the awning jump. But besides that, we play the kingdom pretty much normally.
Yeah, fast,
normal. So I'm gonna move my camera before the cutscene starts, so I can move my camera right now.
Yeah.
And I can spin pound, get a triple jump.
And generally just turning the camera, it is not required that runners will usually want to be able to see where they're going and not have the camera angled in an odd way.
So yeah, here's the awning jump, which skips quite a big part of Night Metro. Typically I'm meant to do like a walk through the city to get to the main section, but we skip the majority of that and get a moon, which is pretty cool. It saves quite a bit of time.
Also, for that awning jump, remember to delay your dives. That's a good tip for new runners, because when you delay your dives or cap bounces, you get a lot more height.
Yeah, because you land more centralized on Cappy, not like the edge. Sort of an odd mechanic in this game.
Also, if you don't want to mention much about City Hall, I want to go further in on camera a minute.
Go for it.
To those, yes. So, since the Switch is a very, I guess, dinky console, it's quite small, it doesn't have a lot of power. If something is not on screen, it is usually unrendered, or like it is no longer activated. So there are a lot of strats in this game that involve manipulating the camera in order to spawn enemies later or prevent lag, although that's not usually the case, only in specific sections with a lot of
Thank you for the good luck, Zeke.
But yeah, camera manips.
Oh, we're coming up to Mega Wiggler, so I'm going to be trying to get the best cycle, which is the 2 cycle.
Yeah.
So the way the Mecha Wiggler moves is RNG, but still we can get 2 cycles. Oh yeah, shouts to Ganon Slayer who has the BTT segment here. The only RNG segment.
I mean, there are some RNG sections with enemy spawns, but typically this is the only one that can really mess you up if you get a bad one. Because if the Wiggler crosses over itself, it practically disables the hitbox for that section, because since you're trying to shoot at 2 bits of the Wiggler at once, the game gets confused and basically says no. So sometimes you can get harder patterns if the Wiggler decides, which, yeah, that shouldn't be too hard to deal with. Also, we'll shoot 3 of these fireballs that the Wiggler shoots at us. So that depending on how many fireballs you shoot, the wiggler will stop earlier or later. So we shoot 3 as it usually gives us enough time to actually shoot the spots out, and then the wiggler will stop and we can clear up any things that we miss.
So that was a decent pattern.
Yeah, it wasn't
At
too
best.
bad. This is like
some patterns just screw you over, and you can't do anything about it most times. It's unless you predict it. But...
So we're gonna come up to Day Metro, the second half of the Metro Kingdom. So here we're gonna be doing a small dram strat. So if commentator wants to introduce the dram strat, they can. Go ahead.
I can take that if you want. So I'll start with the name. So the reason it's called a dram strat is because I'm pretty sure the original finder was Dram. It might have been Shaden, but I think Dram actually discovered he said he didn't want it to be named after him. So in natural fashion, we named it after him. So what you do is you will throw Cappy near a capture target, and then you will go off and usually grab a moon or something like that. And then after you've grabbed the moon, you will shake Cappy to home in on said capture target, and it will almost warp you back to where you were before. So it saves a bit. But we have also named a lot of other tricks that have nothing to do with dram strats after him. Just
very uncreative.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you're wondering what I just did there, I did Scoot Clip. So the scooter has hidden motion controls, and if you press left while holding your controller also like a little bit left, you can clip into that box or whatever it's called and get the moon.
RC car minigame.
Also, we'll grab another hint out here in a second, just after this.
Yeah, there are 2 we grab in Metro, I believe anyway, 2 here, and 1 later on in, like, Ruined, I'm pretty sure. Because 200 coins is a lot. Oh, that sucks. You can usually preserve your momentum with the poles, however, sometimes you just hit random things and lose all your speed. Welcome to Metro.
Yeah.
There's not really anything else here to mention. There's just kind of going through musicians and getting these story moons. It's weird because story moons are typically not that fast unless we're trying to unlock the world peace version of the kingdom. But since you just have to go over to the musicians and talk to them, they're actually pretty fast moons.
Yeah, Pauline wants to
that was a
organize
really good
band,
segment.
but
That
we
movement
don't
is pretty
finish
nice.
it. We get 2 of them.
Also, Ota.
We're going back to 2017.
Yep,
Are we?
it's 2018, at least in my mind.
Close enough.
I'm not enough of a boomer to remember 2017.
What? Oh yeah, I was jumping.
Yeah, you pressed me.
If you're not on the ground, you can't warp checkpoints. Which, there you go.
Yeah, this is just another section of grabbing a couple of fast moons.
Yeah, I believe we only get the required amount to leave in Metro, and we will for the next few kingdoms, I believe. Oh.
That was pretty close.
So I unfortunately got a value dive there, which is basically when you try and dive but you end up going the wrong way. But thankfully the platform was there to save me.
Yeah, that was a bit sketch, but worked out.
Then we'll be grabbing another coin hint out here, I think.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
You can just grab Pound Strat after this moon and you'll grab it, so it's pretty convenient.
And it's fast enough for any percent, so...
Yeah, we also use it in 8%.
And yeah, we're gonna go into this people's room, grab 2 more moons, and then we're going to go out of here and head to Snow Kingdom. Which...
Snow Kingdom is definitely an interesting kingdom, especially for something so short.
Yeah.
There's a couple of interesting tricks. And also cycle-based rooms. We all love our cycle-based rooms.
So this is looking like a 441 Metro, which is okay. Like, I have no problem with that. Ghost, Bird Pogs, Lass. Alright.
Seaside first.
Of course. Ah, yes.
Sorry guys for not doing Seaside Force
I guess
first.
something quick.
I know my boy BP loves it, but unfortunately doesn't work out for me.
Something.
I'm so used to doing snow first. Oh yeah, speaking of snow, we got the hardest kingdom in the run.
Something to mention here, while we're going between the kingdoms, is that the choices between lake and wooded and snow and seaside are actually somewhat specific. Because in the late game, or in post game, we will use the paintings to go between the kingdoms, since it's faster than using the Odyssey. And which kingdom you pick when you have a choice of two affects where the paintings will lead you to. And I as in here, yeah, because you got to lake. So if we picked, for example, wooded first, then it wouldn't work.
Lake we go to through the Odyssey.
Oh, do we? Okay, I guess I'll shut up.
I hate to break it to you, the painting order does not matter for this category. We are just doing what's faster.
Help me out here, Mini Beast. I haven't run this category in like 5 months.
The only paintings we go through is from Cascade to Bowser's, and that's just because it works out from where we're done with Cascade. But most other kingdoms taking the Odyssey does just work out to be faster, just or relative to where we end.
Also, something else important to mention is that Ghost looked at a sign on the wall before grabbing the first moon when he gets in here. That will unlock a moon later that we can grab in a separate kingdom. So pretty much in most of the kingdoms in the game, there is like a king, and it will show you like a position in another kingdom. And if you go to that position and ground pound it typically, you will get a moon out of it. But since Nintendo are awesome developers, you actually can't ground pound the moon without looking at the hint art first. It just won't activate. So even though we know where it is, we still have to check the painting.
Alright, so here's the Blowy Joy cycle. I do this different than most runners. I end up doing a spin pound on the platform, which is a lot safer than triple jump in my opinion.
Yeah, and we just use the momentum of the Blowy Joy to just knock us over. And we just happen to get enough height to ground pound on the moon. And yeah, I believe we will only be getting 2 of the story moons. There are normally 4 that you can collect, which will open up a racetrack which will just open up a racetrack, and that sequence is pretty slow, so we just get some of the moons that are fast and ignore the ones that aren't. And in longer categories, you will actually go as in longer categories like Darker Side, you go to, I think you revisit almost every kingdom. So you want to be able to get the moons that are unlocked post-peace, because as we mentioned before, there are a lot of extra moons that are unlocked when you do that. But in Dark Side, we are only revisiting a handful. So most of them we don't even get peace, and we just sort of do the any % route in some instances, or just one variation.
And also, just quickly to mention in this room, the Goombas that Ghost hopped on and captured can sometimes be a real pain in the ass, because sometimes you'll run towards them and they'll just run off the edge, which forces you to restart the room. It doesn't happen very often, but it's definitely painful when it does. It actually happened to an any % runner Chaos Pringle when he was on world record phase once and killed the run.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna probably require some quick silence for Snowdram. Commentators, if you could explain it after I do the trick or after I get the moon, that would be nice.
Can do.
PogChamp.
Easy clap.
Nice. So that is another trick that we decided to name Dram, because why the hell not? But basically, that moon is normally obtained by going through a painting, where you just spawn there. And that painting is only accessible in post-game. However, it just so happens that you can jump onto the platform if you do the vectors that as we talked about, where you go faster by holding an angle, or by going at an angle. And all of that combined makes it so we can just barely make it onto the platform, and getting that moon is faster than a lot of others.
Also, something to mention in the transition between Snow and Seaside. You'll notice that Ghost bought a shop moon there, and you could ask the question of, if we have enough coins to buy more than one shop moon, why don't we? And that's because we don't actually allow it. Mainly because it would make some of the runs boring coin grind categories. But on the category extensions leaderboards, there are actually categories like Dark Side dupes and Darker Side dupes, which does allow those moons. And I'm not sure how much faster it makes Dark Side, but it makes Darker, which is about around 3 hours, about 20 minutes faster, which is a pretty significant improvement. But it just overall increases variety by allowing to buy more than one moon from a single shop.
Yeah, it became more fun to not deal with, like, coins. Like, not dealing with coins as prevalent as they already are. So it was just sort of a decision to ban them for the main board categories and category extensions that allow them.
Yeah, but it also makes...
Oh, I'm coming up to this moon. Normally you would use the Gushin, but with some precise jumps, we can actually get up here. And there's another strat we can do, the sink. I'll try and get it. We can just triple jump here and hopefully sink. Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, if you neutral on the stick, Mario will just kind of fall down.
Yeah, because the swimming, it's like, oh, he isn't swimming because he's not applying physics. So, there you go.
Yeah, I was gonna elaborate on dupes categories, even though it's not really important to this run. But it's also it's kind of interesting with routing because it's not only routing in the fastest moon, but it's also routing in the fastest moons with coins, and just generally the fastest coins to maximize the amount of moons that we can get from the shop.
Yeah, I think the most drastic example is in the Ruined Kingdom. Nor in standard Darker Side, you actually don't. You don't really care about the kingdom. You just sort of get the moons that you want and leave it behind. But in dupes, because certain sub areas have a lot more coins, you go there instead of other kingdoms because you can get like 500 extra coins, and it just happens to work out that it's faster.
Also, we've got a pretty important trick coming up in a second. Found actually, I'd say relatively recently, but it has been like a year.
Yeah, the boundaries of this level aren't actually a wall, it's just like a force, but we can abuse that and get out of bounds. It's probably the easiest out of bounds trick in the game, I believe.
Yeah. Probably. I mean, there are some in Metro where you can literally just roll through the wall. In terms of ones that save time, that's probably the best clip, well, the easiest clip in the run.
Yeah.
I guess I'll try and explain it. Like, when you try to push against the like Miniby said, it's not a wall. It almost like pushes you back with a force. But if a capture target is uncaptured, the force will not apply to it. So you can push as far as you can, uncapture the fish, and then you can recapture it, and it'll take almost like a second before it reapplies the force. So you can almost boost down, and you'll end up out of bounds. It sounds complicated, but it's pretty simple to pull off.
And yeah, and because the developers never expect you to be that far, obviously they didn't apply collision to that part of the wall, because why would you ever have to do that? So it just allows you to clip out.
So we're gonna come up to the Salt Pile Triple, just a basic triple jump that can get us to the Salt Pile Moon a lot faster.
Looks good. Nice.
Nice. Saves a couple seconds. It's pretty damn hard though.
Or it's hard to do. I think. Just my opinion. But
I mean, yeah, because you also have to delay your jumps to try and maximize height, as well as making sure it's actually faster than the normal strat.
Mm-hmm. And here's the totally unique fight we have. It's going to be very different than before. I'd make the same joke they did at GDQ, but I think everyone's heard that enough.
I have not heard that joke, actually.
Have you not? I think it was Spike at one point. He was like, "Oh, this fight's so different. We have a square instead of a circle," and then they said nothing for the rest of the fight, and it was great.
Variety is the spice of life.
And I think a surprise to many, though, this fight can be skipped, and I don't think it'd be necessarily faster for Darkside, but in any percent, it saves a few seconds. I want to say like 5. But the route is a lot harder, so generally it's not done unless you're at the very top level.
Also, Alpha raises a good point. That's a rectangle mini beast. You should learn your geometry.
Don't
Yeah,
worry
mini-beast.
about it. It's fine.
I mean, lunch and geometry is really bad, so yeah.
Segues, let's go.
I mean,
Oh, nice. We got the roll cancel.
collision in this game is pretty
Almost.
garbage.
I mean, yeah. I think Source brought it up briefly how the camera will, like, it'll deload things that aren't on screen, and sometimes the collision can just be whack when that happens. At least in my experience.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Also, 04 pulling out all the knowledge today. Apparently, Spiritless is actually faster in Dark Roll Frauds.
Oh. We've been had.
We've been had. You know, why don't you come join us in the commentary if you know so much? Yeah, apparently it saves an extra 2 seconds in Darkside, so it's not only fast, but it's actually faster than any design.
Good to know.
GG commentators. Okay, moving
Oh yeah, Source. Source earlier said about deloading stuff. So speaking of deloading, we're actually gonna be trying to get a Potaboo cycle, and I'm gonna turn the camera down to deload the Potaboo, so I actually have some time for the cycle.
Well, not necessarily like unload, but delay his spawning. Because obviously you turn the camera as you get in his range, so that it delays when he spawns in.
Yeah.
Okay, so for Forks, I'm gonna turn my camera down so I can get that small thing to hit the fork. And for Forks, I'm just gonna be doing a lot of up throws, except there. That was kind of scary.
Yeah, Fox is probably one of the best examples of how motion controls are fast in this game. You spend a lot of this room just kind of sending the controller around the room. And the game not obeying your up throws and doing a spin throw instead.
Yeah, motion controls are the most well programmed in this game.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest drawbacks is the fact that you can practically shake your controller completely up and the game just sometimes disagrees with you. And you end up falling off the edge. A quick change here from Danster's run. Danster would typically use a turnip and a pan bro to use the turnip to force the pan bro inside of the cave, which would stop us from having to flick the lever and have this animation here. That was patched in 1.2? Yeah.
Also,
yeah, that was... Go on.
Sorry. I just want to bring it up briefly. A nice highlight, though. You saw that Ghost was basically inside of that Pambro, but he took no damage, and that's because, again, if it's off screen, it deloads. The good fabled saying, if it's not on screen, it doesn't exist. And that's generally the rule that this game follows, so sometimes it's a good thing. Like in that instance where he avoided losing 2 seconds because damage refill.
Hopefully I can get up.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I'm probably gonna miss it, hopefully. Okay, that's fine. I was trying to capture the Potaboo there, because it's actually faster to take the Potaboo. The sub area.
Yeah, 1 to 1.2, Nintendo really clamped down on collision in this game, mainly because of the Balloon World update. They didn't want people to be putting balloons out of bounds, so they really stamped down on collision and made a lot of roll cancels and just clips in general, like turnip clip, a lot harder. And
oh my goodness.
And that's unfortunate.
Yeah, this sub area can be interesting with its cycles, and sometimes the game just says no.
Yeah. But yeah, there are some clips that Nintendo actually tried to patch out, but were successful. So even though they're not impossible, some clips are much harder than they were back in previous versions. And yeah, this is the one deviation from the any percent route in Darkside Luncheon.
Yeah, get area.
That sub area actually used to be in 80% many moons ago. And then I think we're just finishing up now.
Yeah.
It shouldn't
Yeah.
really is the last minute you grab. So again, this is another example of where we grab a few extra moons than are actually required to exit the kingdom in order to buff our total moon count. It is back as spiritless. Is it in the spiritless route? I don't know a lot about spiritless, I'll be honest. Until it becomes RTA, I probably won't look that much into it. Because I'm not a BTT Andy.
I didn't think it was.
I just like to watch the fast.
Oh wait, it is. I'm an idiot. Yeah. So, Spiritless changed a lot for this game, because basically what Spiritless is that the 3 moons at the end of the kingdom, we can't get those because the game actually has proper story progression and doesn't let you get 3 moons. Same with the cheese moon that we got with the Panbro, and obviously Spirit itself. So we need to route around those, so we choose some more fast moons, and that's why a lot of moons were put in or removed or stuff like that.
Let's have a look. Ruined is a pretty boring kingdom. But we do get a hint art though.
Oh, spicing it up a little.
Things are getting heated in here, boys. A hint art.
I'm actually going to be attempting a chess club in here, which saves like 0.5, I think.
It's also really hard to get because the ceiling is far away from the moon.
Yeah,
so
you need to get one of the big.
Yeah. So to explain how nut clip works, if you throw your hat when you grab a moon, it will almost up warp you in a sense, and it will also warp you slightly backwards, which means you can clip through walls with it, but also roofs. And if Ghost does this correctly,
I don't think so.
I don't think that made it.
Nah.
The warp was there, but yeah.
Wasn't high enough, so the game said no.
But it doesn't lose that much.
Oh yeah, if Hayther's in chat, please bless me, because you're the Rune God. Oh yeah, shout out to Hayther, the Rune God, by the way. He has almost all the BTT. He has all the BTT segments here.
Yeah.
If you're curious.
Hayther has optimized this kingdom to its max, pretty much. Since it's a boring kingdom.
No one bothered to optimize.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's
technically there for the taking. I mean, Hayther is.
Discredit him.
Yeah, not to discredit Hayther. But yeah, since it's primarily an auto-scroller kingdom, people didn't take much effort into optimizing it until Hayther came and decided that he was gonna make it his bitch.
Yes, Amiras. I don't like nut clip or late clip, but I like chess clip.
Damn, Lemmon's shots. Feels bad, man. Poor Hayther. Oh, so yeah, you saw Captain Toad pop out of the ground. He actually stays there because this game is really well designed. So you just kind of have like a shocked Captain Toad sticking out the ground for the entire fight.
And I believe, if I can count correctly, Ghost already has over 1,000 points in terms
I'll eat later.
Yeah, because
of the 2 shot. So, goes to show how useful hint arts are.
Yeah. The coins aren't very tight, unless you ask Chaos. But, that's a very specific case. Chaos is the darker onto having 7 coins left in the... I mean, technically it was 40, but 7 is the better story.
Okay, that was a Monka-esque segment, mainly because I was really close to dying.
Interesting.
Yo, what's up, Japega? Yeah.
But yeah, Ruins finishing up. Now we get into an interesting one. Like, we have the interesting kingdom, very boring kingdom, then another interesting one. It conveniently lines up. And we shall see him.
I like how everyone in chat is just pog champing Japega. Shouts to Japega. He's a pretty cool dude. Okay. Bowser's 1 is a pretty interesting kingdom because you're gonna see a lot of things that are not used in any percent.
Yeah, I think Bowser's is the first like major kingdom that goes very out of its way for moons compared to because most of the routes so far have been very similar to any percent or the exact routes as any percent. This is one of the first kingdoms where we deviate heavily from that and like grab a lot more moons throughout.
Yeah, there's a lot of fast moons in Bowser's, but since in 8% there's so many story moons, I think we only have to grab like one extra.
Two extra.
Actually, two extra.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be capturing this Pokio, and I did an insta-capture there. So I'm going to be coming up to Pokio Dram. Another Dram strat, hopefully. Okay.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I accidentally grabbed the ledge, so I thought the Pokio would despawn, so I had to recapture it.
Fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just had a little screw there. So we're gonna get notes. Another. The notes is actually kind of funky because of the spinies.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you
And
hit the spine,
it looks like
your
they're gonna
cap
screw me
just
over most likely.
dies. So.
Yeah, kind of comes back to you if it hits one of the spinies, so it can be kind of a pain to do this moon. But wasn't too bad.
Yeah. Then we go get the first story moon.
Yeah, we'll continue the
like
story progression.
5.
There's a lot of story progression in this.
Yeah, this is
In the
the most
kingdom.
linear kingdom in the game.
There's not much options for deviation.
So we're gonna come up to shards, and yeah. That's a pretty interesting moon because of the strats we do. However, I am not good, so I'm actually gonna be doing fast strats, but not as fast as the top runners do. Yo, what's up, Turn?
Yeah, there are,
How are you
several
doing,
different
Reggie?
routes for shards in general. I think now there are really only 2, the intermediate / beginner and the advanced. But there have been a lot
Right.
of runners who have made their own sort of way to get all 5 of these shards while still beating some of the cycles. There's small cycles, but not most annoying.
Yeah. The newest strats of shards are pretty insane. I mean, you have to use Joy-Cons specifically, I guess, just to explain something so Ghost can focus. So, most runners of this game play with the Pro Controller, which fundamentally is not actually the best controller to play the game with. Technically, the Joy-Cons are, because it has the ability to do a mid-air down throw, which actually results in a fast strat in this section. But since the Joy-Cons are kind of weird to hold, most people opt for the Pro Controller.
Yo, what's up, Eek?
But yeah, I think in general, controllers, like which one you use does not really matter in terms of like top level. Even though a lot of top runners use Pro Controller, like Fur, a top All Moons runner, and Goryuyu, a top any % runner, both use Joy-Cons. So it really, it doesn't really affect your skill. It's just what you find more comfortable, and most find Pro Controller.
And I guess
So I did an insta poke there, and oh, sorry, you can go ahead.
It's fine. I was just going to mention that Hader also plays a joking about it. Nothing important.
Okay, so I'm gonna come up to another dram. This is Bowser Dram, so I'm gonna be throwing my hat at the pylon and trying to get this moon. Also, Goryu is strongest.
Always strongest. Oh, you do Bowser Dram.
I've never
Yeah,
seen that.
the
setup.
Stravos method.
Nice. All right.
Still
I've
works.
never seen that setup before.
It's pretty swag. Oh, this is a pretty interesting trick as well. Another Dram strat.
So I'm actually gonna be waiting for a little time, because if I try to uncapture and capture this Jizzo, he will just force uncapture me.
Yeah, it's a weird mechanic, and I don't know why
Yeah,
it was programmed, but yeah, here's
So we're coming up to Jizzo Dram. Yeah, that was easy.
Jeez, Dram is
So
not easy.
chat, this is a very important question. Topper or Harriet?
it's not that hard.
Harriet.
I guess I gotta do Harriet, guys.
Harriet first game. Wait, Minibeast, what do you do?
Psych!
Whatever I
Topper
feel like
first,
doing that
boys.
day.
Oh, Dan's game. Actually went for Topper first. What a traitor.
Shouts to all my Topper first homies in the chat. Hopefully Anto's here. Hopefully Anto's in chat.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna.
And Silo. Oh yeah, Silo Japega.
Yeah, Dirty Trail. I'm actually gonna hop out the comments. Booth. All
Alright, bye, Source.
Trade.
Oh my goodness.
It's time to disassociate, boys.
Frozen. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I actually just noticed that. Hopefully that won't happen.
Oh yeah, this room's taking a second to catch up.
Oh, and yeah, funny thing as well is that the order of Topper v Harriet, it doesn't actually matter, by the way, we're all naming here, but in 2 categories, it does matter. And that's about all I have to say on that.
I forget why it matters.
For all purple coins, which is one of them, Harriet first is faster because there are coins on the left roof.
See, it's very...
And all moons no post-game, Topper first is faster because there's a moon on the roof to the next that's closest to Topper. There's a moon that you have to go get.
That's me not running AMMPG then.
Alright, so we're coming up to the second half of Bowser's, so we're going to be getting a lot of moons here.
Yeah, there are a few fast moons on your way to the mech fight. And the mech fight is also pretty noteworthy in itself, but we'll get onto that one.
Shout out to Lucid. I actually learned that strat from him. So we're just going to be doing some blind jumps here.
Oh yeah, this jump's kind of weird. Because it doesn't allow you to change your camera. You'll notice that Ghost changed his camera halfway through. If you try to center your camera earlier, the game refuses in regular SMO fashion, so you have to wait a minute. So it's practically a blind...
Yeah, because sometimes the game has a scripted camera that it refuses to let go and only wants to follow its scripted path. And sometimes that annoys us.
So what I was trying to do there to get the Thwomp, it was a Shireen bounce, another one. But I unfortunately failed it. I actually have the BTT segment there.
Flexing.
Flexing,
If you guys are curious.
Pulling out the credentials.
Oh yeah, let's see if I can get this. Fast Mitch Timpani Neo Poke
Mitch is
Ram.
not in that,
I was
by the
gonna
way.
say.
It's Fast Timpani Neo Poke Ram. Mitch, I don't think Mitch was around.
Alright,
when this was a thing.
somewhat. I got it.
Easy clamp.
And we'll get, I believe, one more.
Alright, so I'm actually gonna need some time. Oh my god, I almost forgot that moon. Forgot this moon.
My chat always has to remind me that this is usually just a nice nose.
So we're gonna come up to
Yeah.
mech. So this is another hard fight.
Probably the hardest in the game, arguably.
Yeah.
It's also pretty nerve
Strat's not the hardest for this, it's just how we made it fast makes it just everywhere. So.
Yeah. Typically, you would do this fight using the Pokio, and you would knock the bombs into the mechs, the bucket over. But that's really slow, so we do it without the bird. And I think Ghost is going to go for it.
Yeah, I'm going for target acquired.
All his...
I practiced it for like 3 hours today.
Let's hope it works.
Nowhere consistent. Let's go!
Oh, shit.
Yeah!
Interesting setup, but nice.
Easy!
Spooky, but it worked.
So I actually did the backup strat because I was way too far away from the ideal visual cue. So shouts to Turn, he actually found out a setup that was way lenient for that. And you would dive onto the platform and get the spin pound.
Yeah. And that's Strat save.
Alright, so we're gonna be finishing Bowser's. I'm so happy. Like, you don't know how happy I was when I got that because I practiced that for 3 hours, nowhere consistent. And I got it just now, so I'm really proud of that.
Don't listen to Sonic. The trick is not for...
I don't know what you're talking about.
Then you fail the trick more than I do, and you call it free.
Wait, sound not close.
Okay.
Okay, let's not roast Sanok.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. Good thing I didn't dive there because I accidentally dived in a race with Ganon yesterday. In Darkside, he wanted to race. I accidentally dived off the ledge and I fell off, so good thing that didn't happen.
Moon Kingdom, the final kingdom for any person, it will, however.
Okay, we're probably saving time, so This looks like it's 149 pace, honestly. Better than my runs I had this week. So that's pretty nice.
It's actually a couple of interesting things to mention.
Yeah, I believe Ghost, you're up to 6 moons, I believe, right? Because you get Spire.
Yeah. I get Spire. So, with the original route, you're supposed to do Lost Shop and Mushroom Shop, which I'll explain later when I come to it, but I'm gonna get Spire because it's a moon that just barely makes the cutoff for Dark Side. And for Dark Side, you need to have a moon at least reachable in 18 seconds, I think.
Yeah, it's around that. Like, if from moon to moon, it takes longer than 18 seconds. Like, within post-game, not, early game doesn't really apply for this because there are moons that we need to get. But in general, if from moon to moon seconds, it will not be in this category. In Darker Side, and this is sort of the surprising part about Darker, I will say, is that cutoff is about 21 seconds, and you get twice the amount of moons. A lot of moons in this game are very quick.
Especially
Okay, so I did a vector, which Source was talking about earlier in the run.
Yeah.
In the frog vectoring room.
They're a lot more effective since we have moon gravity and we spend a lot more. So vectoring actually has a very significant effect here.
Yeah, our speed.
So again, I'm going to be doing a vector.
Yeah. This jump would, I mean, typically not be possible with a straight triple jump as far as I'm aware. I could be wrong on that, I've never tried it without.
It is possible with a straight triple jump.
But probably
it's just
harder, yeah.
really precise. But yeah, we got the 2 flowers, nice.
Yeah, you can just manipulate Cappy's position to grab those 2 rocket flowers. And then you just grab it.
Oh yeah, by the way, for Spire, I have really interesting movement. Shouts to Miles Pro, the moon god. He's an ILer who runs this game, and his moon time is, I think, 5 seconds better than top runners.
Also, we just kind of overlooked a 3-minute skip.
It's fine.
It's fine, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No.
So
that's moon cave skip.
Typically, you would have to go through like a moon cave section, which takes a couple minutes, I think about 3 optimally. Since since the walls there are somewhat interactable with, or like you can wall kick off of certain parts, it almost feels like it was made to be there in the way it works. But yeah, you can just skip that whole section with a nice jump.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Oh yeah, and also
it works, but it just does.
Also there for Spire, I just did some vaults.
Yeah, because you can.
Because Miles
there's a technique called dive vaulting, where if Cappy's goes up a slope, you can just straight dive, and instead of landing on Cappy, you land right before Cappy. So then you get a small view, which just makes you vault. And it's a cool little technique. And here, the same Bowser fight that we did in Cloud, we're basically doing again in Mirror.
There are many ways to do this part, so first strat is the Curbs drills. Shouts to Little Curbs 14.
I mean, yeah, what you do here doesn't really matter, as long as you get over the fire.
Yeah, the fight is an auto-thrower, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and the fire that is being shot at you in that section actually has the tiniest hitbox. So you can...
So you saw me fail that fight earlier in the run, so that's what it should look like.
Yeah, that was the fast hats that he attempted in Cloud, and I think... Did you get it for the second phase? I'm pretty sure.
I got it for the second phase, but it was not fast.
So just as a general tip, you hold this pretty close to the edge of Bowser's turning cycle. If you stand on the
I was actually trying to do a GhostT bonk there. Or bonk to cancel the fire.
Yeah, here we wait just a little bit before going into the hat to damage it. Because if you just go into it immediately, the cycle, like him throwing all the hats, might actually cause you to get hit twice. And it can just completely screw up whatever you were planning. And now we do escape sequence.
The only really, I guess Pillars also has something to mention. But in the 2D section coming up, we also do skip the saves a couple seconds. But you can lose about 40 if you miss it, so hopefully that doesn't happen. But I'll explain it when we get there. For this section, it's more just taking good lines and staying on course.
So I'm gonna be staying still and clawing, because that's usually the fastest way. Oh yeah, speaking of 2D source, do we really go through that?
I mean, it's up to you. Of course. This is your run, not mine.
We had it. We had.
Oh no. I almost got it.
Pressure, but don't worry about it. Oh.
Wait.
That's not the skip we were talking about.
So that's the
is
skip.
not what we were referencing.
As it?
I don't think yeah, that's 2D skip. You kind of skip that section.
Yeah.
It's relatively risky since you can fall down.
That's the 2D shortcut.
Yeah. Any.
Uh-oh, my
escape
internet's
segment,
actually really
any
screwed.
Death in the escape section just kind of screws you up. I don't know why I can't speak.
Okay, internet's back.
Ooh.
However, I think you guys probably missed some
I think we're fine.
things. Okay, so here's Pillar Room.
Yeah, so we have a strat here that I think Ghost is going to go for to knock down this first pillar early. Typically, you just go for all the pillars in a clockwise rotation. But if you knock down the first pillar earlier, it saves a couple seconds.
Yeah, pillars. Honestly, it has some of the most like action I think in any of the escape sequence. There's a lot of stuff that, like, you have your own style for pillars in some instances. So
also has one of the best songs in the game. I know. It's true. It's pretty hype at the end of a run.
Okay, so good thing I didn't get invisible there and Hyanoed.
If you shoot a fireball or claw on like the same frame that giant rock is destroying, the hitbox of that giant rock, so you just aren't able to get to the platform. I think you're still able to finish the run.
You can, yeah.
It's
but you have to claw it from the outside while all the platforms are falling down.
No,
so
it's generally it loses quite a bit of time.
Right. Oh yeah, and we just finished the game.
Oh yeah.
That was a 111 any percent, which is really solid. However, if you guys are OG ResortFest members, if you remember the time I did my any percent run at ResortFest 2018, I got a 116 that run. So this is a really huge improvement.
Clap it out, boys.
Thank you.
You can clap for that.
We got an extra 40 moons as well. Don't worry about it. Was it 40? Something like that.
Yeah, you get a few more moons, but it's mainly in post game where we get the majority of our moons from.
Yeah, we have what, about 100?
I was really bad at the game last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah, the post game is a very short part of the run. Unlike Darker Side, the main game in the Dark Side run, because the post game has a lot of fast moons, even though we grabbed a similar amount.
Yeah, for the most part, we're just trying to gun it to post game and get a few extra along the way. I think that's the best way to.
Yeah.
GG.
Okay. That was a GhostT bonk, I guess. It's basically when you cancel the bonk by talking to an NPC, which you will see me do for the hint art later.
Yeah, and this is also where like any route changes you did in pregame really shows, because I think in my route I actually skip Mushroom Shop, but it really just comes down to how the runners choose to route things out. It just that's sort of that's the fun part of Dark Side. Like every route can be very different while still being roughly the same speed.
I mean, that's the fun part about Odyssey generally. There are 880 moons and we only need 250 of them. There's quite a lot of possibilities, although some of them are definitely ones that you would not get.
The darker side world record is about 3 hours and 7 minutes, and that's 500 moons. 880 moons, getting all of those is about 7 hours and 30 minutes, or 20. So
you'd have to be
that are very slow.
You'd have to be pretty nuts to run all moons, to be honest. Imagine doing that and then commentating your run straight after. Wink, wink. Yeah.
Okay, so here's a very interesting tech with Goomba. If you jump left and right, you actually get a small vector, which is just faster than shaking the Pro controller or whatever controller you're using. So here we're gonna come up to Goomba jump.
So if you jump
Easy trick. Always.
on a ledge, especially with the Goomba, it will get a pretty large speed boost, which you can use to clear the gap to Goomba. I don't actually know what the casual strat is here.
Get like 7 Goombas, drain the well, and stand on top, I think. Slow, basically.
Yeah. No.
And then we jump up to the top of the castle, grab this moon, and that, I think, is the final moon we get in Mushroom.
Yeah.
It's gonna do a bit of
Yeah, that's the
cleanup.
final moon. However, we still need to talk to this toad to activate Peach Moons, which will be fast for post-game. And we also need to get this in our...
Yeah, basically to have Peach spawn anywhere, you have to talk to that toad. And Peach Moons are fast, so we might as well just talk to him right away.
Yep.
And I think me and Minnie used to.
Alright, we're coming up to Cap 2. One of the scariest kingdoms in the run, but not as scary as Lost 2.
Both are pretty scary.
Yeah.
It's just they're
So
all
this first jump is probably the hardest.
Screw you up.
So I think we're gonna take over here for the most part.
Yeah.
Focuses up.
Alright, thank you guys. I'll see you when this is over.
So to start off, this kingdom
I made that sound very cheap.
is gonna do a jump to this moon rock. So in post game, the moon rocking kingdoms, because it allows for a couple of pretty quick moves. You jump onto this side, and then you.
That sucks.
Yeah. It's pretty.
This jump
unfortunate.
saves.
Yeah,
8
I
seconds,
accidentally
but-
pressed the cap button.
I think I meant to and fly over to this moon rock. But yeah, like many of you said, it saves 8 seconds if you can get this jump.
Oh no.
Should be able to. Oh, never mind.
That's
Yeah, it's
I'll actually be taking the safer method for this.
so we get to see both methods. There we go.
So this is the backup method usually if you fail this method. So
Yeah, you can. There are a lot of ways to make it over to that sign, and once you do that, the second part is pretty easy. And there you go. Sucks that it was third try, but still able to get it.
Yeah.
And as you'll see, all those X's are new moons that were beforehand.
And then
Yeah.
a warp to this checkpoint that we got right. at the
hopefully
start
that didn't lose too much.
So yeah, we're gonna climb back up, mimicking movement from Cap 1, just because there is a toad. At the very
Yo,
top.
what is up, Zine? Oh yeah, shout out to Zine in his SM64 120 relay. Okay, we're gonna be getting a moon, which is not blind, but people think it is.
Hey, so-
Captain Toad usually faces it.
I don't want to talk about it, okay, minibeast? No comments on that moon from me.
But yeah, you can just long jump down, or you can just jump down there and grab it, and death warp immediately after. And it's surprisingly fast movement. And yeah, we're just gonna be sort of going along the path and getting this moon, and as well we'll see our first instance of Peach.
Yeah, it wouldn't be there if we didn't talk to the toad in Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah.
Again, one of those things that you just kind of have to do, even if you know where Peach is gonna be.
Yeah, Peach in the like 10 lines of dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so another instance of the Shirane bounce. And we're going to be talking to the shop because we're going to be coming up to our second hardest jump.
Yeah, this
The
is
bird cycle.
basically there's a bird that flies around, and when you talk to the shopkeeper, that bird cycle resets. And because that bird cycle resets, the bird is actually directly in front of Mario. So we're just gonna go try and jump over and land on a to then hopefully. Oh, that's unfortunate.
I can still get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when
Yeah, this cap too, like, everything that was hard just went wrong, which is kind of expected.
But yeah, you even
So-
saw the bird flying past there. Yeah, so he's just gonna land on the sign and grab.
Oh my goodness, I thought I got a value dive there.
To explain what a value dive is, sometimes when you throw your hat and dive, it'll, either it's typically by your own fault will miss the cap and not bounce off of it. It's more common with side flips and back flips. Is because in an age-old anime back in the days between Valor and Shaden, when Valor was getting got a value dive. We like that's a joke. By the way.
We're very creative neighbors.
It was a interesting strat for the timer challenge. You throw Cappy back to activate the timer challenge after already jumping out into the air.
Yeah.
Just so you can land on the final platform earlier.
I just got used to that strat, the dive back.
Yeah.
So here we're gonna be getting the hit art we got in Mushroom Kingdom. So that's like, you might be asking, do you know where the moons are, right? Do you really need to activate that? Yes.
Yeah.
Because if we don't read the hint art, the moon won't spawn.
And yeah, that's just how they did it. But I don't know. Probably so you don't just get random moons while you're ground pounding anywhere. Yeah, we're
Alright, this might be
We're gonna-
149
that's our final
pace.
heading it to, I believe, Lake. No,
Like,
Yeah.
Lake. It's like
If the notes are correct, then yes, it's like,
correct. Not scripted, by the way.
1, 2, 3.
Bam.
yes.
Right.
Start this kingdom, you'll just break the moon rock again, unlocking more fast moons.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think.
But before we do that, I still have to get the notes. Because
Oh yeah.
I did not do that. It's a lot easier for me to spin pound at Lake 2 for some reason, so that's why I get Lake.
Yeah, because you could have gotten this moon in Lake 1, but generally it's just either runner there's actually some speed difference. That's generally the case of, like, I feel like that's the case of moons. Either we can't get them just because of how story worked out, or it's just get them at a later point because we have the ability to. We can go back to kingdoms, spawn into different, break the moon rock as well, which gives us access to more moons, so better. And I think one category that sort of doesn't, that shows the fact that, or shows its ruggedness in a sense, where like this moon should be here, but it's not because we hit the moon rock, is all moons no post game. Because you don't have moon rock moons, and you go from one slow moon to another slow moon, even though it feels like there should be. And generally, that's just how it works out. It's sort of a weird quirk. Yeah, we got a cascade, or we got a hint art that will work in Cascade, and that's actually why we visit after Lake, because we need that hint art. That's, I think, one of the only reasons actually.
Yeah, because in theory it would make sense since Cascade is between Cap and Lake when it comes to menuing.
Yeah, so
But
menuing
obviously
would be faster, but
the moon makes it faster.
like in general, menuing, like obviously you want to have faster menuing, but for the most part, it'll just come down to how the route plays out. Like for example, it's faster to select Lake first on the like crossroad, but Darker selects Wooded first just because moons work, and that's sort of how this game works when it comes. It's just if it doesn't matter, select the fastest.
Also, you might be seeing me get a lot of moons that you could have gotten in Lake 1, but it's just faster to route them in Lake 2.
Yeah.
Which is just basically the ideal concept of longer categories. Like, we leave a lot of these moons for post-game just because of convenience, mostly.
Yeah, it's interesting in some, I think I'll take Dark Side as a good example here. There's sometimes where you will literally walk past moons that you could grab with very minimal time loss, but at a later point, since there's an auto-scroller or something like, just slightly faster to grab them then. So, sometimes the routes aren't as obvious as they first seem.
Yeah.
So I think Ghost is gonna go talk to Peach here. Yeah, before doing the timer challenge, your moon in between the middle of a timer challenge, since the timing isn't fast.
And the timer is slow.
And you said you don't do this jump, right, Ghost? Yeah, you don't do this jump.
Yeah.
There used to be a jump in Dark Side that you would do at the end of that timer challenge that is relatively difficult. But I think for the most, since I was running the category.
Yeah. And yeah, we're just going to carry these set of Goombas over to Goombet over here, and then we're going to...
And we're clean. So we're going to come up to Cascade 2, which is another scary kingdom, even though it is, because there's the potential of dying is really high.
At any point in Cascade sends you very far back, at least if I remember correctly. And we're off. And yeah, like, and obviously while we're in post game, we are not revisiting any of the like longer kingdoms, and part of that is also the reason that to get story in those longer kingdoms, you have to do more things. And the only times we want to be revisiting kingdoms is if we can moons via the moon rocks, or just roots, and generally that sort of.
Oh no, my internet's dying. So here I'm going to be not talking to Peach. I'm just going to be skipping her. And I'll leave her for the later part of Cascade, just for a little time save.
Part to show the effect of Moonrock is that at the start, basically just run to the other side of the kingdom as fast as possible in Moonrock. We just grab a few moons and then we'll activate it, which I think really shows the impact of how important
Moons is always beneficial, and because the Moonrock spawns around, we just want to go gun for that as fast as possible. We're gonna go down to talk. He's just chill.
Okay, so here I'm actually going to be rolling into a specific position for this chain chomp, because I want him to go back. I somewhat did it. So that it's just faster to pull him back. That was one of the main reasons.
Yeah.
Also, the dino here has very weird properties for this moon, so let's hope that doesn't happen. Because the hitbox for this dino is really absurd. Like, even if the tail is on the moon, like the moon area, you can still not get it.
Yeah, the dino's several hitboxes are just really weird. Some to benefit, there's a glitch that involves dino hitboxes that just gets you a ton of coins. But most of the time, the hitboxes just kind of screw you up, and it's not fun.
an example of a fast moon spawned by a Moonrock. Literally just sat in midair. A lot of challenge.
Okay, this is a part where I can easily die. So
yeah, speaking of which, that was kind of spooky.
Yeah, you just make your way back. Nice.
And yeah, this is the...
For notes, there's a really cool jump you could do, but it's unfortunately not fast.
Yeah, and just to mention, this is the 2D section that we would have done if we hadn't have done Dino Skip originally. This is part of the area that you have to walk through.
We're
yeah,
doing
we do
it now
because there's another fast mode.
So it's worth getting.
So did you do Busted Fossil here?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I think you show the setup, right? I assume you don't just roll it. Yeah. So
I'm fine.
For this moon that Ghost is about to do, janky sometimes, whereas if you're aiming right at it, sometimes it won't. It'll almost seem like the chain chomp goes through it. And you see he sets it up to the left and then like changes the angle so that it faces towards it. which improves consistency. Because if you just straight shoot it, then typically you have issues.
So also, I just did a little optimization there. So I'm gonna grab that rib moon and get over there. So I'm gonna spawn the rib moon, and I'm gonna get that moon. Just a little fun optimization. It saves a second.
Yeah, it just works out that.
Oh my goodness. Mario, please let me get up there.
An example of how throws can sometimes be registered as spin throws. If you're not careful, this game can be pretty weird sometimes.
It's a fun one. Yeah, there's the hint chart that we grabbed in Lake. And yeah, this is the, I think, first and only instance of using the painting, because where we end up in Cascade, like we're like, all right, we're done, we have all the moons we need. There just happens to be a painting.
Here's another example of a very hard moon that is unlocked by post game. A lot of
That
is it not unlocked by post game? Okay,
No,
I got from a fraud.
they're from the after Madame Brood.
Oh yeah, it is. Okay, plays the game for 2 years, still doesn't know how it works. Really getting shut up here.
Did I get Peach? Yeah, Tomatoes, I got Peach.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's good on moons right now.
So, just one more moon. I got you could do chest clip in Cascade 1, which is faster, but however, I'm not good at chest clip, so...
There's a daylight savings time, and like, he only got 5 moons, and then went to sand, which is the standard 90%, which is why DSTA worked really well. But...
Alright, we're gonna be entering Bowser's 2. This is probably my favorite kingdom in Darkside, because a lot of the movement, if you get it, is pretty sick. And Source, you might agree with me on this, but Bowser's 2 is really cool in Darker Side as well. Oh no, I just warped the wrong checkpoint.
Oh, no.
It's okay,
Warp again.
that's a small time loss.
There you go.
Yeah, I guess to answer that question, I'm actually not a huge fan of Bowser's 2. It just annoys me sometimes. There's a lot of stuff that can go, like, very slightly wrong.
I mean, have you seen this game?
No, frankly, I haven't.
Ah, okay, fair enough.
What are you playing again? Is this Super Mario Galaxy?
Nah, this is Super Mario 64.
No,
I don't know what you're talking about, Toys.
Anyway, awkward jokes aside, this kingdom has a lot of relatively fast moves, and some of them are just kind of placed anywhere for no good reason.
Like in a crate.
It's actually faster to spin pound in the water there. It was actually discovered by Justin_00, another OG runner of this game.
Justin. Justin actually really optimized Darker to an extent. He was probably one of the more prominent dark side runners when he ran the game.
He was probably one of my motivations to run this game, or category.
Yeah, there's a very slight sort of dram style where we just throw Cappy there, grab a moon, home and bam, done. But that's also one that does not lose, like, any time if you miss it. So... And yeah, if you've seen Darker Side, this movement looks very similar, and that's just the fact that Darker Side and Dark share a similar movement, and some vastly different one in other cases. It really just depends on what's considered fast and what's considered only fast and darker. It's interesting. Routing this game can be
so that movement is pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks pretty fancy. It's definitely better than my movement in that section. But I typically try to avoid the rabbit. The Switch is a very, like, low power console. If you hit the rabbit, it'll drop, like, pretty much all of your inputs for the next second. So sometimes it drops my dive input if I end up running into the second rabbit.
Also, first try Rumble Moon. That one's one of the harder ones, I feel like.
That moon is usually in a pizza shape, as Ganon likes to describe it. So yeah.
Yeah, usually See, there's a triangle. You basically use the birds as the other corner.
Yeah, but obviously those birds run away if you get close. So if you miss it first try, you're kind of blind.
I mean, yeah. You can use the vibration, but that's kind of slow.
Yeah,
I do think
it's
we'll
just
get
an
it strong.
interesting one.
But it's one of those moons where, after a while, you just kind of get used to where it is. It's kind of like with Dune, Moon, and Sand. So that was a pretty cool strat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
actually,
that's
I found that from Samedas, who's in chat right now.
Yep.
You can actually do an up throw, and then the cap will still be, the cap hitbox will still be there, so you could just do a dive off that. It's pretty precise, but still nice. Okay, we're gonna get another shop moon, because of how convenient it is. Oh my goodness. Mario, get in there, thank you.
There we go. You felt like cooperating for once.
Alright, so for this strat, we're gonna be getting a moon that is on the wire, and the way we do that is by shaking or pressing Y. However, pressing Y is not always accurate, so I'm just gonna end up shaking. After what happened to Source in one of his darker runs.
Yes, sometimes you
Sorry,
can,
Source, I didn't mean to call you out.
sometimes you can shake. And like sometimes when you shake, yeah, you sometimes almost get it on like a bad frame rate. And it won't bring you up, even though you're shaking like a complete madman. It decides to just completely deny you, which I think you'll find pretty cool with this game. But yeah.
Also, that was really nice.
That was some good RNG. So to explain how that bird works, on a almost like, but I'm pretty sure it's completely random. The bird will face forwards and backwards, and if you throw a Cappy while it's facing away, you can hit it straight away. But if he's facing you, then you have to try it again. So typically it's pretty good RNG if you manage to hit him.
Now we have the fun one, if I remember the kingdoms correctly.
Lost 2.
Yeah, this is the scariest kingdom. So after, I'll be talking for like the first half of the kingdom for first 2 minutes. But after that, it's basically Source. Source and Mini Beast will take over for me.
Yeah,
This gets sketchy.
most of the post-game kingdoms are similar to Darker. What's a frame rule?
Source, what's a frame rule?
No, we're not getting into that. This is not SMB1. There we go.
Everyone's saying so, imagine a boss. Also, thank you guys, by the way, for handling my internet. Because, like, I think I dropped 3,000 plus frames.
No.
So, thank you guys.
It hasn't seemed that bad.
This is why you have variable bitrate, boys.
No, that's
Can you leave? Can you go upstairs for a second?
It doesn't love
Just-
it.
I'll call you downstairs. 20 minutes.
It doesn't want to see 4 pixels on the screen at once.
But yeah, Lost is probably one of the most similar kingdoms to Darker. There's only a few. Depends on what the runner does.
Yeah.
And really, like, because there isn't much different between there isn't much between Dark and Darker. Only I think like 3 to 4 moons are different. It just
Yeah.
works out that Lost is a fairly fast kingdom.
And it's also very small. So
Alright, so after this Captain Toad moon, I'm actually gonna require some silence for shards because of how scary it is.
Ooh, there we go.
I think that's happened to me many times, so that should be fine. Okay.
Nice.
That's the hard part over.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
section can.
I'm dying for
Go
sure.
for dive.
Yeah. I think you
Dive,
should
it'll be
be.
fine.
Oh!
Yep.
There we go. But yeah,
Almost used
that,
it.
that section can be pretty hard because there's a lot of small platforms to jump off of.
Yeah, you normally just.
And also, I was really tense there.
Yeah, it's normally intended to use a wiggler where you basically can't die. Also, I think he's gonna do the.
Okay.
Yeah.
So notes is actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, there are two.
You can actually get these in like 2 throws, which I've only done once in runs, but just now, like 3 is fine. I shouldn't worry.
Most of my attempts at wigglers, it's pretty sketch. But yeah, that's another section where you're meant to use the wiggler, but the wiggler's slow, so we just do it with Mario.
Yeah, sometimes runners will actually choose to use the wiggler there, just mostly because of the bunny, because the bunny's made much easier with the wiggler, but that was still very nice without it. Yeah. Yeah.
Going for the
Nice.
hardest struts, and we'll just line it up and then jump over.
Yeah.
So I was actually what Dangerous does there is he does like he throws the hat to the torpedo and does that, but just to be safe, I hit that platform and then came here. Okay, last moon of Lost 2. Let's hope nothing dumb happens here, and we should be fine.
Yeah, the majority of the kingdom's over. It's just grabbing these last few moons.
That was a really good loss too for a marathon.
Yeah. A lot can go
Yeah.
wrong very.
Okay, so looking at the best possible time, this is looking like a low 150. So, which is not like my PB. My PB is a 148, but I consider that to be like a really good time.
Pretty good. Yeah, for a no reset / marathon.
And yeah, so I think I'll start sort of explaining Toadette achievements here, because we're going to be talking to this split / kingdom. And it's just that when how Toadette works is that Toadette just gives you free moons for getting other moons, like, or just doing achievements. So you get a free one for rescuing Princess Peach at the end of the game, and you also get them based on like what specific moons you collect. Like you can get 5 if you get 5 timer challenges, you also get a free moon. And that's where most of the major routing takes place for Dark Side and Darker, where you just sort of prioritize the moons that, oh, well, these give us a Toadette achievement, they may seem slow at first, but they give us a moon that takes only like 3 seconds to collect. And so Toadette routing is one of the more interesting parts of this. So we're just going to be talking to Toadette for a little bit, getting all those achievements we've racked up.
But before we do that, we're actually going to look up at the sky here for a free moon, and then we'll go to Toadette.
Yeah.
And the strat is just like you go into first person, because we talk faster in first person. I think it saves 5 seconds.
0.5 per one, I think.
Also,
Yeah.
that moon where we looked up at the ceiling is a nice little throwback to people who have played SM64. Typically,
The entire game is, yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Shout out to my SM64 runners in chat. Zion, most likely.
but yeah, typically you would look up to the light in the ceiling to enter a stage. So there's a nice little callback by look at the light in the ceiling and you get a moon from it. Also, you'll notice that the moons in this kingdom are actually stars, which is also a callback.
Which is one of the reasons why I saw a star in Cap 2.
Yeah, instead of the moon. Because the moon...
But like, before we end the run, this is actually like really solid. Like, nothing too bad went wrong aside
We
from
haven't gone
missing the
straight.
fast hats and dying twice in Cap 2. Four more, and then 1 more minute.
So I assume we're still audible on stream because the whoever
I'm
was with
assuming.
us in VC left. Let me check. Let me have a look.
And that's all the Toadette achievements.
And
we
that's
have?
the last moon, so we're gonna be diving here.
Really fun for that, because in Darker you get 30 in all moons you get it. So, thankfully you don't have to go dark. But,
Alright, so that was a resident sleeper moment, so... Any resident sleepers in chat?
Okay, yeah, we are still on stream. Just wanted to check.
and now we're heading to Dark.
Yeah,
our
really-
final goal.
The actual part of the run.
Dark is a very hard kingdom. Very hard.
Yeah, one thing can go wrong, and all of a sudden everything's just falling apart.
I mean, yeah, the problem is that even if you die right at the end of the boss rush, so basically, to explain Dark, you fight all 4 of the top of the Harriet, then Spirit, then Rango, and then you will fight the Mecha Brutal again in low gravity. So it's basically like a huge boss rush. The problem is if you die at any point, or at least if you die during the Brutal section, you go all the way back to the start.
And
Does it also happen in the mech portion as well?
yes,
So yeah, avoiding dying is very important here, especially
they can
since
lose minutes.
especially since we're
Oh yeah, speaking of dying, I'm not taking the part.
Yeah, there's a life apart
Because,
there
I
that gives
mean-
you an extra 3. However, most runners will opt to not get it because it does lose time. And generally, if things don't go horribly wrong, you can get through the entire thing damageless.
So speaking of Topper, I ground pound there, and that basically is the perfect timing for. Okay.
Yeah, taking some damage here. So that will carry through the rest of the boss rush, so he has to play it very carefully.
Okay.
oh, this is
Yeah, now he has to do all the brutals on 1 HP, so it's going to be an interesting.
Don't worry, guys. That was on purpose. I want you guys to be scared. I mean, I am not, but I mean,
Yes, of course.
I was trying to do that.
Yes.
raising the stakes.
To be fair, Topper is one of the harder ones to do in Moon Gravity.
Yeah.
I mean,
Harriet is also very hard. If you mess up the
I mean, if you
moon.
mess it up.
yeah.
But yeah, generally the.
I feel like long jumping up here is faster.
His screen.
Hi there.
Hi. We have a new commentator.
I think that was a misclick.
Oops. Well. Anyway, Harry.
So Harriet is the same strat as Bowser's. We're trying to manipulate her steps.
And yeah, like the main twist on all of the fights is usually just it's in moon gravity now, and that can actually make it easier and some of them harder. For example, the tall yellow bunny Rango is made much easier because we can literally tap the jump button and all of a sudden we're hitting his head.
Rango low.
I'm not a PB pace, Troy. This is a low 150 run, honestly.
So yeah, heading on to the Spirit here, and then Rango, and then the mech boss, and then we're done, pretty much.
Funnily
We're
enough,
done.
the mech fight in
Speward is also